Louis Vuitton, the French luggage and handbag maker that is a byword for luxury, has been in business for more than a century after its founding in 1854 by its namesake. It don't survive that many years without courting controversy along the way. But the fact that the Louis Vuitton Corporation collaborated with the Nazis in World War II places them in a rarefied company on the list of firms that supported them. Still, the company that optimizes the good life in its line of luggage, handbags, clothing, and now jewelry not only survived a 2004 public relations nightmare, but has now gone on to become the most valuable luxury brand in the entire world, via Forbes. Founded by a young man of humble origins, the company has historically been the brand of the rich and famous, including the Empress of France, the Rockefellers, Hearsts, and Vanderbilts, notes Harper's Bazaar. Vuitton's genius revolutionized travel in the 1800s, and the style he gave to his creations has stood the test of time. His monogram carries a cachet like no other in the world of fashion, and the company's offerings are the epitome of elegance even today. In 2021, LV reported a staggering $75.973 billion in earnings, a 48.95% increase over the year prior, according to Macrotrends. Founder was born to working-class parents. More than a century before the company has featured in global headlines, its founder started out life in modest circumstances. Despite his eponymous firm going on to epitomize ultra-luxury, his family had humble origins. As biography tells the story, Louis Vuitton was born on August 4, 1821. His father was a farmer and his mother was a millionaire, or a hat maker. Sadly, the family matriarch died early in his life. Vuitton's stepmother was reportedly so evil that he ran away from his home in the Jura Mountains when he was 13 and headed for Paris on foot. It was a journey of 292 miles. To survive, he performed odd jobs along the way, finding whatever shelter he could. By the time he turned 16, he had made it to the glittering capital city of France. After going to work as an apprentice for boxmaker Monsieur Maréchal, Vuitton quickly learned the skills that would enable him to create his iconic trunks and handbags. In those times, boxmakers were in high demand. Their products were essential in the days of long journeys by steamer and horse-drawn coach. Skilled boxmakers and packers were entrusted with protecting the extremely expensive handmade gowns and other clothing worn by the upper classes, expertly making boxes to fit the items and adeptly packing them to ensure their care. Vuitton had already found his niche, catering to high society at a time when the Industrial Revolution was making people fortunes, while there was still, of course, an enormous amount of poverty in Paris. Louis Vuitton was appointed boxmaker to wife of Napoleon III. Just a few years after arriving in Paris, Louis Vuitton had become such an accomplished maker of boxes and trunks that he was appointed official boxmaker to Empress Eugenie, the consort of Napoleon III, according to biography. At the time when boxmakers not only custom-made, but packed their boxes as well, with the ornate gowns of the day. These specialists were in high demand by the nobility and royalty. After being appointed as the Empress's boxmaker, Vuitton was charged with packing the most beautiful clothes in an exquisite way. As royal central details, Empress Eugenie was one of the great tastemakers of the day, setting the fashion for the extraordinarily fashion-conscious French society of the time when the monarchy was attempting to re-establish its legitimacy after her husband. The third son of Napoleon's younger brother had named himself Emperor in 1851, via biography. He had just been elected as president of the French Second Republic several years earlier. At the time of their marriage, Eugenie was already noted as a tastemaker on the Parisian scene. Her patronage of Vuitton elevated him in the eyes of high society in England and the United States at the time as well. By the time of overthrow of Napoleon III in 1870, Vuitton didn't need her patronage. He was well on his way to becoming a household name amongst the well-to-do who appreciated his impeccable handiwork in their trunks and luggage. The firm started out by imitating a British trunk. It was 1858, just 4 years after Louis Vuitton had opened up his own shop, when he came up with the genius idea of giving a flat top to his trunks, making them easily stackable for any kind of transportation, be it on a steamship or a railway car. It was that innovation alone that made his trunks the must-have item for the burgeoning middle and upper classes in the United Kingdom and the Americas, as well as European nobility and royalty. Vuitton's design paid homage to British designer Harriet Cave, who patented the first leather trunk specifically designed for women, as well as lighter railway baskets as per the H.G. Cave website. As Barnaby's also notes, Vuitton also lined his creations with waterproof canvas, another nod to Cave and her firm, which added to their practicality. According to Rebag, his Trianon trunk featured a simple gray canvas lining before long. However, he added his own touches to his line, such as stripes in 1876 and the damier checked print in 1888. The iconic monogram was not to appear until 1896. However, when the founder's son, George Vuitton, added it to honor his father. LV's Nazi connections. According to Stephanie Bonvicini, in her 2004 book, Louis Vuitton, a French saga, Louis Vuitton collaborated with the Nazi-installed Vichy government in World War II. Via a book, she revealed that Gaston Vuitton, the founder's grandson, had told the rest of the family to forge ties with the collaborationist Pétain regime during the war, as per The Guardian. Led by Philippe Pétain, the regime deported French Jews to concentration camps. Coincidentally, the LV store in Vichy stayed open all during World War II, while all the other high-end retailers, including Van Cleef and Arpels, were forced to shut down. Most disturbingly, however, Bonvicini uncovered physical evidence of the Louis Vuitton's company's collaboration with the Nazi regime in the form of 2,500 busts that were sculptures of Pétain himself. Henry Vuitton Gaston's son, who was a habitué of the same Vichy bar that was a favorite of the Gestapo, was also decorated by the Nazi-installed French government for helping the regime. Bonvicini's tell-all book was written in commemoration of the fashion house's 150th anniversary. Vogue notes and the charges were largely ignored by the company and by French media. Understandably, the family withdrew their cooperation with Bonvicini when she was started digging up these facts. As reported in The Guardian, their attitude changed completely from the moment I mentioned the war years, from being very helpful to not responding to questions at all. Bonvicini stated, Louis Vuitton created his own unique locks. Louis Vuitton was a genius, even creating his own unpickable locks for his painstakingly handcrafted trunks. He and his son, George Vuitton, created their brass padlocks in 1886 in an effort to assure travelers using their trunks that their belongings would be safe, as per vintage handbag experts at L'Hôtel de Saint-Honoré. In a public relations feat, Harry Houdini himself declined to take up a challenge to try to escape one of the designer's trunks as part of a promotional stunt in London. But in other versions of the story, according to the high-end purse experts at New Vintage, the escape artist tried and failed to break out of the trunk. The unpickable locks, which are still manufactured today in gleaming brass and a part of every handbag LV sells, have become as iconic as the LV logo or quatrefoil print and are collectible in and of themselves. Unfortunately, since Louis Vuitton is the most counterfeited brand in the world, the locks are also widely copied. Genuine LV locks always feature 3 stamps in back with the words Louis Vuitton Paris made in France or another country such as Germany or Italy, where the bag was made, as well as a unique number on both the lock and the key notes L'Etoile de Saint-Honoré. Ernest Hemingway was one of the brand's earliest followers. In 1893, at the Chicago World's Fair, George Vuitton, the founder's son, brought the company's products before the whole world, according to. And it was there that the company's fortunes took off in earnest. After George Vuitton met the owner of the Chicago's renowned Wanamaker's department store, the store soon became the only place in the United States to purchase the exquisitely constructed trunks. Artists such as Henry Matisse and ultra-wealthy clientele like J.P. Morgan soon purchased Louis Vuitton's trunks for their travels. They are soon followed by such families as the Rockefellers, Hearst, and Vanderbilts, further enhancing the reputation of the luxury brand in the consciousness of Americans, Harper's Bazaar states. Early Hollywood megastars soon became fans of LV. By the time actors such as Mary Pickford hit the big time, they were frequently seen toting Louis Vuitton's luggage. Harper's Bazaar further reports that Ernest Hemingway, who traveled as much as he wrote, commissioned his own library trunk from Louis Vuitton in 1927. This unique creation featured an intriguing array of secret compartments. Incredibly, as Louis Vuitton reports, the trunk, which was recently discovered in the Ritz Hotel in Paris, contained a draft of a movable feast. The library trunk is now on display at LV's boutique on the Boulevard Street. German in Paris, via Inspired Travel, model charges LV with mistreatment. Louis Vuitton, which has become a byword for high couture, suffered a blow in 2017 when it was accused of mistreating a young Danish model. According to Glamour, Ulrich Hoyer charged an assistant to Louis Vuitton's casting director with telling her not to eat anything and drink only water after she showed up for a photo shoot in Kyoto, Japan. Hoyer was a size 2 at the time. Hoyer charged that the assistant had told her to drink only water, inferring that she not eat anything at all after she did not fit into a clothing that she was supposed to have modeled. Then, the Business of Fashion reports the company's reps complained in an email to Hoyer's agent. She has a belly. Her face is more puffy. Sick. And the back of her dress is open and you can see it is tight. Although the Louis Vuitton company vociferously denied any wrongdoing, other models came to Hoyer's defense, saying they too had experienced body shaming by the fashion industry. Louis Vuitton never issued an official statement about the incident. However, that same year, France had made it illegal for fashion companies to employ overly thin models in their shows and advertising via the BBC, appearing to give a bit of credence to Hoyer's story. Cultural appointments of Keffiyeh scarf. In 2021, Louis Vuitton was accused not only of copying the iconic Middle Eastern keffiyeh scarf for their own fashion line, but also of using the colors blue and white, the colors of the Israeli flag, in their own version, which sold for a cool $705 as per The Independent. Touted as the Louis Vuitton monogram keffiyeh stole in its online store, this set off a firestorm of protest. The keffiyeh is often seen as a symbol of the Palestinian cause. This was viewed as culturally insensitive at best, and a slap in the face of Palestinians at worst, during a time of renewed tensions in the Middle East. The Council for American Islamic Relations complained in a statement in June of 2021. The keffiyeh is very near and dear to our hearts as Palestinians, and to see it appreciated is highly offensive, especially during this time, as reported by NBC News. Elvi responded right away, however, tamping down the uproar by quietly removing the item for its online range. The company aggressively defends copyrights around globe. Louis Vuitton is known for hunting down suspected copyright infringements with great alacrity. As Forbes states, LVMH, the consortium that now owns Louis Vuitton, gives its legal department a budget of €15 million annually to fight the constant flood of knockoff LV products that attracts less discriminating buyers worldwide. In one case, it was awarded an astounding €38.6 million from eBay, which the court ruled had not done enough to thwart counterfeiters. However, sometimes the company is on the losing side of copyright issues. In 2015, it lost a case filed against the company Nana, charging its damier checkerboard pattern had been copied. In most recent case, Louis Vuitton lost in court involved the design of a lock by Jocelyn Imbert for its line of handbags, wallets, and other items. Imbert charged that she was not adequately compensated for her design work. The luxury goods giant was ordered to pay nearly $1 million in Paris appeals court in March of 2020 to settle the matter, according to the report in Vogue Business. LV is sometimes even called a trademark bully for its aggressive protection of its designs. As firm Dorsey and Whitney report via JD Supra, the fashion house bought a case against a company that sold a canvas bag with the representation of a LV quadrifoil and a monogram pattern bag on one side and the word "my other bag" on the other. LV lost the case with the judge opinion that it was a parody of the universally recognized handbag. Louis Vuitton products are the most counterfeited in the world. Louis Vuitton products are now some of the most copied consumer goods all over the globe because of the company's cachet and the long history of producing some of the world's finest luxury items. The value of all the fake merchandise sold around the globe is estimated to be a whopping $4.5 trillion annually, per a recent report in the Harvard Business Review. One such a case was surely one of the most devious and ingenious of any involving Louis Vuitton, with one of its own employees busted in a multi-million-dollar counterfeit ring based in Shanghai, China in 2020. As the fashion law details, scores of people were taken into custody along with fake LV bags, equipment, and raw materials. A sales associated in its boutique in Guangzhou, who turned against her employer, arranged for the copying of yet-be-released handbags, so that when the actual bags hit the market, the fake items could be sold alongside them at the same time. The counterfeiter even created a near-field communication (NFC) tags inside the fake bags that, when scanned, would take the owner to the actual Louis Vuitton website. The operation was brought to a half, however, with Chinese police arresting members of no less than 60 groups, along with 2,000 handbags and enough LV look-alike canvas fabric that, had it been authentic, would have been worth a cool $15 million. LV is the most valuable luxury brand in the world. Louis Vuitton is one of the most valuable brand names in the world, with revenue largely increasing year over year as per macro trends. In 2021, the company was worth over $75 billion, representing an increase of 48.95% over the year 2020, making it known one of the world's most valuable luxury brand as per Statista. According to Lux Digital, in 2021, LV, now part of the LVMH luxury business conglomerate headed by Bernard Arnault, ranked no. 5 in the world for luxury brands that sold their products online, an increasingly important sales dynamic during the pandemic. Using a metric involving the number of online searches, only Gucci, Chanel, Hermes, and Dior ranked higher than LV, with Vuitton attracting 9.7% of all searches for luxury items, reports the City Life. Fashion United reports that LV, coming in 13th place of the Interbrand's 2021 Top Global Brands report, was the only fashion house in the world to feature in the top 20. Apple, Amazon, and Microsoft occupied the first 3 spots.